Okay, so now we have one. Yeah. 13. That's what I
Yeah, it's for this meeting.
No,
did she not?
no, Lizzie's
Okay.
not.
I'm sorry. I'm so confused by this.
So we need one more. We need one more here.
Yeah,
Paula, why don't your board members stand up so we get a correct count?
Yes, well, okay, we're gonna stand up. I think we have a correct now. Oh, Candace came in. Okay.
I think that's
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So we need one more.
Still need one more.
Yes.
And here comes Sandra, 13.
Betty,
All right. I'm calling the meeting at 7:05 again. Well. And next thing was swearing, and I understand that Councilman is running a little late. So then, can we have the agenda?
can we verify the?
I am.
Can hear us.
Oh, okay, yes.
They could just give us a show of hands.
Zoom participants, can you hear us? If so, raise your,
Virtual hands?
your virtual hand. Okay,
Yes,
thank you, David. Okay.
So the A, it's the person who
Yeah, it's a big wow. Oh.
We just have a meeting.
So the next thing that we're going to do is public comments, 1 minute per person. And I see a thumb up.
That's a thumb.
Okay. Thank you, Brittany. Or did you have a comment, Brittany?
She has a comment.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Good evening. My name is Brittany. I'm a neighbor of the West Adams area and a community organizer with Redeemer Community Partnership. Thank you so much for letting me share a comment with you all. I just wanted to follow up with an update about the comment I made at last month's governing board meeting about the public hearing associated with the Murphy drill site over at 2126 West Adams, which focuses on the appeal of the city's recent determination for modernization. So we recently learned that there has been another request for an extension, which has now postponed the hearing no longer on August 15th, but into the fall of 2023. We are still waiting to hear about an official public notice and date from the city, but we'd be happy to share that with you all once we get that further information. So again, thank you for your time. I'll leave my email in the chat box, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other? Yes, John.
Tell the grandson, all can read it. I'm gonna read this. That was easier, so I don't go home and say, oh, I should have said.
Okay.
So good evening, everybody. As I said at the last meeting, I'm submitting my resignation on the UNC governing board after we finish tonight's business. After 16 years on the board, I did this with a heart. But I must make room in my calendar as my life has become more complicated recently. What amazes me about my time on the board is how much richness being on the board has brought to my life in the neighborhood. And the connections I've made with my fellow board members. For those of you who are on multiple boards, as you know, most boards, where one can affect the most changes to committees. And the planning and zoning committee has been where I've thrived, and where I've been able to share my expertise in design and land use to help the neighborhood. It's truly gratifying to be able to walk around the neighborhood and to see so many places that we have made better by UNC's involvement. Laura and I have been comrades in arms all these years, and it has been truly collaborative and productive relationship. So I want to say here's to Laura. We're lucky to have her continuing leadership in this important work. That all said, at the pleasure of the board, I intend to stay as co-chair of the Planning and Zoning Committee, as a civilian community member, as long as I can. I think it's vitally important that others of the board become involved in planning and zoning. It's a lot of work, it takes a lot of learning and reading, and frankly, political maneuvering, connecting the dots between communities and developers and politicians to keep UNC's input heard and relevant. As part of my work, I've been, as work as an architect, I've been at a lot of different kinds of meetings, presenting projects, and UNC is among the best run. You may give the best productive feedback to applicants to make sure that development happens in a way that helps us most and guides how we want our community to look and feel. And so this is my ask. I'm sorry. And we're also thoughtfully proactive around other land use issues, which has given us great respect over the years at the council office, planning department, and at City Hall. And here's my ask. Anyone who wants to step up and be in the next generation of planning and zoning leadership, please let Laura and I know we need you. This is one of the important things that neighborhood councils do, and we'll be happy to get you started with ins and outs. Thanks to all of you for your camaraderie. And I wish UNC the best as you continue the good fight to make our neighborhood better.
Thank you. Rahim, wonderful to see you. Okay. Any other board member come in? Yes.
I just want to mention that it's unusual in my area, the senior lead officer for the Olympic division is having what is called a town hall next Wednesday. I'm not sure how far that jurisdiction is, and it certainly covers my area. It's rather unusual, and he admits to having a few problems in the area. He's probably having this meeting in response to all the complaints he's been getting. So it's a good time to come and find out what's wrong and what we can do about it. It's going to be at St. Sophia. Now, he says it's at St. Sophia. There's a huge meeting hall there from Rita Wilson and Tom Hanks, right next to the cathedral. So I don't think we're going into the cathedral, but the site is easy to find. Normandy, just below Christos.
Thank you. We have a couple of hands raised on everybody. David, did you want to say?
Hi, I'm not sure where we are on the agenda. Are we in public comment at this point?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. My name is David Saffer, and I'm a resident of Jefferson Park. And I want to speak about an event that occurred on the Saturday of Juneteenth weekend. As you may have already heard, events that impacted the entire neighborhood recently took place in our neighborhood in Jefferson Park, and have previously as well, without any notification to those most impacted, your District 10 consultants, also known as the people that live there. I would ask that our council member, and I thought she was going to be there, but I'm hearing that she's running a little late. So if her representative is there, I'd love for them to take this up. Or in her absence, I'd like to ask the UNNC to take up the mantle and work with other councils throughout the city to ensure that rules are adapted by the city of Los Angeles, that when events are planned that result in street closures or significant loss of street parking, that notification efforts similar to those in effect for film shoots need to occur to ensure that we, the residents most affected, have the ability to make necessary accommodations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Sandra Paul?
Good evening. My name is Sandra Paul. I also live in the Jefferson Park area, and I applaud David because that is exactly the reason I'm on this call tonight, to give my public statement regarding the New Orleans corridor event that was not handled well, in my opinion. Most of the residents in this community had no idea that it was going to take place. We weren't aware of it until the day of the event. And we would have, expected at minimum UNNC would have published something in their newsletter and their weekly blast at minimum. But David said exactly what needs to happen, and I hope you really seriously take up the action that he asked you to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. And is there anyone else?
No.
Okay.
The agenda.
Yes, I'm sorry. Can we show the agenda?
The councilwoman is here.
Okay, all right, so let's do this, show the agenda, and then we will move right there.
All right.
So there's one thing. Okay, here's our agenda. The meeting was already called to order at 7:05. We deferred the swearing in, but we'll get to that.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, no. Reviewed the agenda, but we did not approve it. We had our public comments. After the swearing in, we'll do the election of the board officers. We'll have government reports, guest presentations, guest presentations, discussion of the vacant seats, treasurer's report, funding requests. It's a long agenda. Committee report, and then the executive board report, including the adjournment.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. All those in favor? Show of hands. 1 minute, thank you. All right. And so Dolores, I'm turning it over to you to introduce Councilwoman.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to have we have the honor of having our councilwoman from the 10th district here, Councilwoman Heather Hutt, as well as her deputy Eric Agor.
That's it.
She's really been holding down the fort during the period where we were having some chaos in the city, and now that she's councilwoman, she's been doing great things, and she has agreed to swear in our board members here tonight. And she just got in from Washington D.C., so she's battling jet lag.
Yeah, and then the whole, all the planes delayed 5 times.
Yeah. So, without further ado, we'll have Councilwoman Hutt.
Yes.
Oh, people online. Hi, people online. Amen for the hybrid, where you get to be in person or online. That's great. Good evening. I'm the councilwoman of the 10th, and it's an honor to join the United Neighborhood Council. I am lagged a little bit, and they lost my luggage, but they found it, and then they said I couldn't fly earlier, but my luggage beat me. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I didn't get angry. I was just like, thank you, lady, you know, got my stuff. I want to take a moment to recognize how important it is to do this work for everyone that volunteers on all neighborhood councils, because it's really a labor of love. You love your community, you love your neighborhood, and you love what happens in the city. And we know this by every action. Brian, through the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic, made great change in this community. And the 10th district stood strong through all the trouble. So I just want to thank you for all your work, and also for signing up in leadership to do it again, right? And that's what's really important. It certainly is important when it comes to planning, and when you see all the development, to have this engagement and input. And in other neighborhoods, they're not as engaged as you are. And I learned that by going out and talking to folks, and they don't know how it works, and they didn't know they could join and they could participate. So this is really amazing, and I'm really happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. I have talking points that my lovely staff built, so I should say some of them, which is that you created a space for open dialogue, collaboration, and shared decision-making. And that's really what a neighborhood should be about, right? When you're looking for your home, you drive down the neighborhood, and you look at trees and curb appeal and all that kind of stuff, but you really don't know the people. And this is what helps you join along with your neighbors, that you have like minds, you care about where you are, and you make decisions about your future. This contribution lays a foundation that really people thrive in today, and I'm really proud of the strength that it brings you. So now it gives me great pleasure to announce the newly elected board members who will carry the torch for the United Neighborhood Council in dignity, integrity, and pride. And now we're going to do this all at one time for swearing in, and I have Liz. And you can please stand.
I hope it's all.
Everybody, come stand right here.
It's all of us.
Yeah.
So everybody.
That's our council member. You bring the picture, it goes to the elected member. Okay. You're gonna stand. Yeah. So you're gonna stand right there. Okay. You're all gonna stand.
You told me just read the up.
Yeah, what's the names?
I have names. I have.
And we do have one new board member on top left, show King.
Show Kings. Okay, I have some show. Okay, I have Paula Southern, John Arnold,
Come on down, Candace.
Christine Carlson,
Chris is off.
Diane Cooper, Raheem Dawson, Candace Jackson, Jasmine Johnson, Michael Kimber, Dennis Lesky, Sarah Lon Henry, Muriel Monthaven, Teresa Masonette, Laura Myers, Dolores Spears, Grace Yu, Kareen or Karen? Kareen. Alprecht, Ed Saunders, Michael Saunderstrom, King, and Christopher Weed. Did I miss anybody?
Diana. Diana Cooper?
Cooper.
Yeah, I think she said Diane, yeah.
Oh, Diana Cooper, number 4.
Diana. There we go.
Show us your right hand.
Okay, put your right hand up. Put your right hand up. So say your name when I say I. I pledge to represent my neighborhood with dignity, integrity, and pride. I will encourage other points of view. I will encourage other points of view. Even when they differ from my own. I will respect, value, and consider everyone's opinion. I will find the good in my neighborhood. And praise it and promote it. To my neighbors and to my neighborhoods throughout the city of Los Angeles. I pledge this to the best of my ability. All right. Thank you. I think I need this in the city council. Other points of view.
Real quick, can we all get together and take a big group photo?
Yeah.
No.
Come in this way a little bit. Yeah, over there.
Quiet style.
I'm gonna get on the other side and then on the side. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna do 1, loud one, we're gonna say UNNC, the 10th. Is that too much?
No.
No? All right. You ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Represent.
That'll work.
Can we get the new general manager in with us?
Thank you.
Gotta get away.
Ready? One more. Oh yeah, here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Are you good at that?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, everybody, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess. We'll be right back.
Here and.
Okay, we're back to Anna Mitchell.
They would like to make a presentation.
Teresa do an explanation for.
Okay, after Teresa.
Okay, just so everyone knows, we're now back in session, and for all the board members present, we know about our technology, so it's best if everyone speaks one at a time and kind of projects, so everybody can hear on the Zoom meeting. Okay, Paul.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Carter.
Good evening, thank you for having me. My name is Art Durango, Battalion Chief out of our Battalion 18. So we just come and want to represent the fire department here. So I just wanted to talk about two issues that we have. One is smoke detectors. We were at a fire this morning. Luckily, the people that were there, the residents, had smoke detectors. So we just want to reemphasize that smoke detectors work. For your reference, there's mysafela.org as a website if you would to help administer smoke detectors, carbon monoxide, and help with any kind of canvassing in the neighborhoods. Just so you know, if we ever have a fatality fire in the district, we notify them and we do canvassing in the area as well. So just wanted to keep that up. And also as a reminder, when you guys hear that chirp in the background, that means it's probably either the battery is about to die. So it's just a quick swap of batteries. So sometimes when they call 911 or dispatch center, we can hear it in the background. And it's just a big general reminder, hey, you probably need to be changing the batteries, though they work. And then second off, we just wanted to bring to the attention that we've been having a lot of rubbish fires in the area. Rubbish fires are butted up against businesses and end up exposed to either a commercial or a resident. So if you see it, call 911 immediately. And in that, if there's a suspect on scene or somebody that you see lighting it, let the dispatcher know, because usually LAPD is also on the line listening, so they can get a no response between LAPD and the fire department. So obviously we want to get there to quickly extinguish that fire to prevent it from any extension to any buildings in the city here. Any questions for me on behalf of the fire department?
I've got one, and I think everybody's probably on the same page. 4th of July is ridiculous. It's gotten to the point now that I hate the holiday.
Yes, so our 4th of July was very busy, as you can imagine, right? So we work with our partners over at LAPD to find out where they're coming from. So we get the call after it's happened, right? LAPD will do the investigation or reports of fireworks, where they're obviously canvassing the area and try to get a hold of who's lighting them off and taking insight in them and or giving them warnings depending on what it is. And obviously we get called out on any kind of rubbish fires or any fires as a result of fireworks. But we are, actively promoting the illegal fire or the not to be using illegal fireworks. And anything is illegal in the city of LA through our banners, through fire stations, and through our just kind of work with the community as we're responding to reports. So I'm with you. It's very dangerous. Every year we have injuries that are a result of the fireworks and obviously some fires as a result of it. So in the future, if you see something, call 911 immediately. And again, just give us a good location where they're coming from. If there's somebody on the scene that you give a good description, let us know, and then along with LAPD, we'll be able to assist with that. And then somebody asked about the oil drilling over at the Murphy drilling site.
Yes.
So we're gonna get back to you. I do have a contact phone number, so we're working on getting that information for you so you have an idea of what's happening there. Anything else that we can address the fire department have one? Yes, sir.
You mentioned the rubbish fire. What I've noticed is, the green cans that are on this curb.
The green trash.
The green trash, they just get filled up, they sit there for several days, and then that may be, it's just a match. So I'm saying, if it was maintained more regularly, possibly you wouldn't have as many rubbish.
Yes, sir. I agree. And we try to take a proactive approach as well as we're driving around, coming back to and from calls to see if something looks like it's out of the ordinary. We don't mind, we have a 311 app, and we make notifications to the city and or our dispatch center if things need to be addressed, whether it's just, things that are piling up, notifications. So we definitely make the notifications, and obviously our job is to try to prevent fires through education just awareness.
And just the alleys, and I think about the alley, I mean, does anybody patrol or see and stuff that are accumulating in the alleys?
Unless we pass by it and see it, we really don't have the access. I mean, but if you guys are walking around and see it, yes, you got to be calling us and notice, letting us know that there's large amounts of trash built, in the back of an alley or an address. So all we would need is just an address, and then probably get a city service to come and address that.
Right, will we call you or we call the city?
The city, usually the 311 is a good resource.
Yes.
Let me chime in a little bit with all due respect. In regards to the rubbish, if you do see rubbish on the side coming out somebody's private yard, private property, and you think the city can address it and cut it, please take a picture, email it to myself or Danielle, and then we'll send out LACC or a KYCC to make sure that it's cut and trimmed to help prevent. It's an organization that is contracted through the city that helps maintain it, to be transparent. Second, if you do see alleys, there's two forms of alleys, right? You'll see one alley that has a green gate, which belongs to the residents of the community, which basically means the city handed over the gates and said, okay, you are in charge of maintaining this alley. So those residents are supposed to cut the alley, trim the grass. And if you see an open alley that's not closed off, then that belongs to us, City of Los Angeles, and then we'll send services out to make sure that alley is maintained. However, if you see one of these green alleys that are just ridiculous and say, Eric, we need to bring some immediate attention to this alley, can you please come out? We've done it before, we don't have no issues with doing that. Where it comes in is, and where the UNCC comes in is that we really want to work as partners and be collaborative to maintain the city. We don't have enough people to truly patrol this entire area to make sure you get the services you need without your help. So if it could be reciprocal in regards to you being our eyes and ears, and then we come out providing the service, that would be greatly appreciated. And then that way we could eliminate some of these fires with the rubbish. We could help maintain these alleys. We could potentially keep down some of these graffitis and things like that. So it's really a reciprocal relationship between the council office and your board.
One more quick one.
Yes, sir.
On the, what about commercial properties? The commercial people seem to be hesitant or negligent in their upkeep of, I mean, they don't seem to really care about when rubbish is accumulated or whatever.
Especially vacant lots.
Right, and especially that too, and with even some of the people who are operating every day, or they just disrespect the neighborhood because they come in, make their money, go home. But, it was, somebody was throwing trash in front of their house every day. Right, I mean, but they won't do that in front of their own business.
Right, if you see situations like that, I don't have no problems calling building safety on somebody. I'm gonna let y'all know that right now. I'm gonna call me a heartbeat. Because it'll help eliminate some of the calls we receive from you all to be transparent. And it's helping us get ahead of it. Now, if you call me today, I can't promise DSS is gonna come out tomorrow. But what I will do is put it on their radar and say it's a nuance to this community and it's creating blight. And that's the last thing we want. We enjoy where we live, where we work, and where we play, and I'm sure you all do too. And it is important, just as it is to me, that it is to you, that you love your community and you want your family to walk up and down the street in hopes of not getting stabbed by a bush from a vacant lot. Right?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's sort of, I don't know. What is you if you find that choking in your house or you have somebody else choking in your house?
Great question. So first of all, we need to call 911, right? So we have trained dispatchers. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but our dispatchers in the city of LA are all firefighters. They have to be firefighters at a minimum of 4 years. But so the question was, what happens if you find yourself choking and or you see somebody choking? The first thing you want to do is call 911 immediately. The first question they're going to ask is, what's the address of the emergency? If you're in an apartment or a complex or things like that, if you give them an apartment number or an exact location of where they can get to you immediately, that's great. They're going to confirm your phone number. They say, what's the emergency? Obviously, if you're choking, you're going to tell them you're choking. they'll give you some instruction, and or I see somebody choking. They'll probably ask you just a series of questions. Our dispatchers are trained to slow the process down, so to be able to understand, right, what's happening, what's the emergency, and give you a play-by-play, what we call emergency instruction. So for somebody that's choking, there's two methods, right? There's somebody that might be choking, that still can talk, but I got a little something stuck in my throat, I'm kind of choking, but I'm still talking, right? For those people, we encourage, keep coughing. Encourage all the coughing. It's okay, cough it out, keep going, keep going. There's also a full-blown obstruction where now it's like, the universal sign now, there's no talking, there's no coughing, there's none of that, because it's a full obstruction right into the trachea, right? So then you would be guided by a dispatcher to get right behind the person, and what we're really looking or forcing to do is get around them, and we're gonna force up and, in and up. Right, just to create a force to be able to get them. And you really keep doing that until either the object gets dislodged and or the person becomes unconscious. If they become unconscious, you put them on the ground. And I would suggest if you have an iPhone or a smartphone and you have the ability to go to speaker, put them on speaker, the dispatcher. That way you can just listen to the instruction and then just be guided by the direction. So they're trained to speak a little slow, give you some good direction, right? And depending on what they're hearing back, they're going to continue to give you that direction until the fire department arrives. But the biggest thing is activate 911 immediately to get you the help you need.
And if you're not breaking the rib, you're not doing it right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, we're gonna have to stop the, we're gonna be here all night. Did you have a quick question? Okay, and then that's it, we'll move on to the next item.
I just want to know if there's a difference calling 911 and cell phone rather than
Yes, so the difference on what we call a landline versus a cell phone. So when you call from a landline, your address automatically pops up, right? So you know you might be calling from 1234 Washington, whatever that is, right? Perfect. We just confirm that phone number or that address, and life is good. But if you're calling from a cell phone, there's different phases, phase 1 and phase 2. But mostly everybody has a smart device now where we're able to really track your location. And I won't get into the weeds, but we have different applications like what 3 words and the ability to really kind of narrow down exactly where you're calling from. So don't panic, even if you don't know the address of where you're at.
Yeah.
We could probably help you. And at a minimum, what we'll start is sending to an intersection. And then if you just tell us, I'm at the McDonald's, I'm at the gas station, I'm at that whatever, with the dispatchers are trained to put all that into the comments. And then what we tell you is, do us a favor, wave down to the fire department when you see them. That way they know exactly where to go. So I hope that helps.
Yes, very helpful. Thank you. Hear from Vanessa Serrano, she is the interim manager. Yes.
Maybe one. So, hi everyone, my first time here at your meeting, and just congratulations to the new board members. Welcome back to those returning, and thank you for, board members who will be, leaving the board today in this capacity, but it's good to hear that you're still involved. Your knowledge is very important to the community and the neighborhood councils, and I think also to encourage the new incoming board members of the commitment that it really does take, right, to see change, move change through the community and educate other board members. I'm sure you've met others who are, in some way, you've had an effect in many people, right? And whether, especially the planning process, which I think sometimes we find with some neighborhood councils is a very complicated process and something hard to get into. As we've held workshops in the past, and it's tough for some people to get into and understand. So thank you for everything you've done, and NC's very lucky, and I think us as a neighborhood council system to have you come back or continue, in that capacity. I think Alfonso, your new neighborhood empowerment advocate was, I'm gonna take your joke maybe, but you have stress balls in front of you, right? They're there for a reason. This work isn't easy. I'm just joking. I hope you don't have to use them. I really don't. But neighborhood council work isn't easy. Community work, it isn't easy. Whether you're involved as a neighborhood council board member, or a committee member, or a stakeholder attending committee meetings or attending board meetings, it's not easy, right? It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes effort, it takes a lot of sweat and sometimes some tears, you know? So your work isn't unnoticed and it is very valuable. So my name is Vanessa Serrano. I am the interim general manager. I've been doing in this position for about 3 months, but with the department for about 6 years of my life. Of my career, and then 10 years involved in the neighborhood council system itself. I started as a board member myself for a few years. I recently just moved, but I grew up in Pacoima, and that's the neighborhood that I represented when I served. And I fell in love with the neighborhood council system. I did. It wasn't easy, but I did. And I think the part of community building, the part of building relationships with my neighbors, and bringing them together, that was the part that I loved. You know, of really getting people to meet each other, to understand what mattered to them, and to be able to identify it and educate a community that sometimes really didn't reach out for the resources, to understand what resources were available to everyone, not just if you were a U.S. citizen or whatever it is, right? Just understanding what was there and finding a way to get them to go into that. So it wasn't easy work, but I'm very happy to be here. I'm happy to see this is the first installation I'm a part of in person, now that we're back to in-person meetings. It's not the same virtually, you know, but I'm glad to see that, you know, you're finding a way to still keep your stakeholders engaged, those who can't be here in person. So this is first meeting that I've seen it. I wanted to come in to see it in person. Gibson Miamura, who is your former neighborhood empowerment advocate, recently promoted. He is our new director of innovation with our department. He'll be focusing on data literacy and bringing that to the neighborhood, what it means and how you can use the data that's already available and free to not just you as neighborhood council board members, but to the entire city, and use it to help you make decisions, right? And advise City Hall about the needs of your neighborhood. So that's what you will be doing. You're in good hands. You're with Alfonso Manso, who is your new NEA. That's a short acronym we have. This is your first, well, I'm not gonna hand it over to you. I know I'm gonna keep it short, but he is your new NEA. He is not new to our department. He's been with us for a few months. He started actually with our election outreach and advocacy program. He was out in the communities, getting people involved to run for their neighborhood council or to come into elections. So he's canvassed many neighborhoods throughout the city. And before us, he also has a lot of years of field experience himself, working at different levels of government and working for communities to help educate them on the resources available and how to represent their neighborhoods too. So he is not new. He's gone through an onboarding process with us. He has my support. He will be continuing to work with Gibson, and then also Thomas Soong, who I'm not sure if you've met. And I think some people have met. He's been with the department, I think, since the very beginning. So you may have already worked with him in some capacity. So Alfonso has full support from us. If anything you need, he will be your direct contact, but I'm around. Always around, feel free to let me know if anything comes up. I'll pass it on to him. I mean, I have updates, but yes.
I'm sorry. Alfonso is our new Gibson.
Yes.
Just want to, to understand the relationship. But before we hear from him, he is actually going to do the election of the executive board. He's going to run that. But Sandra Pruitt has been waiting patiently to comment. So go ahead and make your comment, and then we'll call on Alfonso.
Hey, hi, once again, my name is Sandra Pruitt. I've lived in the Jefferson Park community for 15 years. I became active on the board. I was on the board and in the community after my son was murdered in the drive-by in Jefferson Park. So after that, I found to always speak up and speak out for Jefferson Park. I've done things like the movies in the park. When I was on the board, movies in the park, I had the monthly second meetings at Jefferson Park at the library. I had a toy field drive, and now I'm the president of the Nancy Shaw branch of the Friends in our community. And I feel like over these years that Jefferson Park is sometimes overlooked and underappreciated. And there's no better example of that than the Juneteenth celebration of changing the name of the street to New Orleans corridor. So we understand the reason for that because we know people that first moved to New Orleans from New Orleans when they moved here, moved to Jefferson Park neighborhood. And we had older members, Gus Harris, who was interested in having that happen, but it never did. So with the change of the name and blocking off our streets, no one informed us of that. Not even the UNC reps that we had. I know, Eric, he went to the library and let them know about it, but there was no community involvement. We weren't invited, the businesses weren't out there, it was called the festival, there was no food trucks, and there's a food truck that's on the grounds of the pawn shop. And there's some other communities that, businesses, because I have worked with the businesses and community in the neighborhood, that wanted to be a part of it. We only found out about it maybe 2 weeks before, and we found out through, social media. You know, the signs started going up, and so we started asking on social media, well, what's going on? There were 3 events that day. The library happened to have an event that was kind of muddled down because of the street closure. So the streets were closed, some people couldn't get out, others couldn't get in. People I know that didn't know their way around totally. There was no detour signs. A parking instructor, enforcement person told someone who lived in the neighborhood that maybe you should leave your car here and walk home, but you don't know how far you live from off the exit to your home. And then they had the 100 was capped at 5K at the park. So there was that going on, and the festival was up Pony Name. And like I said, no businesses were out there. So I want to know, what is the benefit for Jefferson Park if you're going to change the name, not invite the people, and not have us participate? Are you going to fix the streets now? Because we had doing the project with the Metro when they first started doing the switch line, where they're supposed to have some money put aside. They had the city come out and do the survey of sidewalks. That never happened. And at the festival that day, one of the trees on 7th and Jefferson, there was not a lot of trees on our street. So people were shading underneath the tree, there were a bunch of kids there, and a big branch fell down. So our streets need to, the sidewalks need to be fixed, the street, what they call the wells around the bottom of the trees need to be fixed. You know, the tree wells, right. Businesses in the past had wanted to have a business improvement district. They were supported by her resident back in the day, but that never came through. So are you gonna get the bus stops that look like New Orleans? Are you gonna have the low lights that go all the way down? What is the benefit? And are we gonna be able to keep some of our mom and pop businesses that we enjoy in the neighborhood and not be overrun by a bunch of multi-use places? That's our concern.
Thank you,
And one more thing, this is not a one-off, because when the Wednesday event happened, Jefferson Park was invited or included that.
Thank you for letting us know that, really. I sincerely mean that, because we are representing the neighborhood, and so we need to know.
Well, we are doing the city code, the reps are for Jefferson Park. So how can we say they're representing them, who voted for these people if they're not informed of what's going on?
Okay, we got it. All right, we've got to keep moving, and we're going to be here till midnight. Go in, Alfonso.
All right.
Hello.
Thank you. So I'm Alfonso, so I am in Gibson, if you're new. I did hear you guys really good. There's a pen inside the folder. There's the oath as well. So you guys can use that. The stress ball. I hope you guys don't do it what the kids do when I hit some throw at each other.
No, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, so like Vanessa said, I have about 10 years working in government. So I started Parks and Rec. I moved on to work with the Congresswoman Linda Sanchez as a field rep, and now I'm here with the department. I just want to make I sent y'all a few announcements to your email, but I do want to highlight one, which is the Congresswoman Fairwood. It's this year, it will be September 23rd at City Hall. It's free and open to the public. Registration will begin in late August, and there's going to be free food. So just letting you all know that.
What is that again? I'm sorry.
The Commerce and Neighborhoods.
And where is it?
It's going to be at City Hall.
What is that for Congress?
And it's a full day of workshops. Sometimes there's about over 20, 25 workshops on different topics, everything from legal issues that affect neighborhood councils, different departments come in and present on the new programs that they are they are introducing to the city. There's just a full day of workshops. It's open. It's also an opportunity for neighborhood councils to come together to meet over lunch, over, there's coffee, there's breaks, fun interactive ways that you can get to know each other and get to know what you're working on. But also it's open to the public. So, and anyone is welcome to come in. It's a full day. I think it starts like at 8 o'clock, 8:30 is the opening session. And it ends at about 4:30. You don't have to stay the entire time, but you'll get the outline for the day and then select the workshops that you're attending.
All right. So now you're gonna run the election with the nominations and you take the vote and.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we have contact information for you?
Yeah, I sent everyone my phone number and email. If you guys want my email, it's alfonso.manzo, and I can spell that out for you. It's alfonso.manzo@lacity.org. ALFONSO.
It's getting gender.
Yeah.
M-A-N-Z-O.
All right.
So we're gonna open nominations for president?
Yeah, so nominations for the following positions will be done from the floor. It's gonna be for the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and signature.
I nominate Paula Southern as president.
Second?
Is that to be seconded? Okay.
All right. So,
Can we just talk about?
yeah, it's gonna be all
Okay. Can it be by acclamation or does it need to be a VAC?
No, does it? Does it have to be a VAC?
I hope not.
It doesn't, this is a BEC, you don't have to submit to the city, it can be just by affirmation, but you should maybe read the roll in case there's anyone that's interested, and then you should nominate, you can also self-nominate, if you're interested in that.
Okay, so let me read the roll. So president is subject to the supervisory powers that may be given by the board to another officer. The president shall subject to the control of the board during supervise and give direction for business of the council. He or she shall preside at all meetings of the members and all meetings of the board and executive committee. She shall have such other powers and duties that may be prescribed by the board or the bylaws. So are there any more nominations?
Nope.
Do we move to close the nomination?
Yeah.
I move to close. If it's appropriate for me to do so, I move to close the nomination.
Is there anything else?
It means I'm waiting to get in. Where did she go? Wasn't she here a minute ago? Not to me, thank you.
Is there
Hello? Okay.
I mean, I thought show of hands.
No, we're gonna do a roll call.
Oh, we are?
Do you want to do a roll call?
Yeah, I think it's necessary, we should do a roll call and have it, we don't need to get the VAC, but we should do the roll call.
You can, yes, you can do a roll call. You have to.
We have to.
I'd recommend that we do it, so we can have a record, please.
Yeah, I think your bylaws state that an action is passed by a majority of the board, who even present, so.
Okay.
All right, do you want to take a roll call?
Yeah. Jasmine?
Yes.
Dolores?
Yes.
Raheem?
Yep.
Candace?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Joe? Edward?
Yes.
I am a yes. Paula, I assume. Are you repeating yourself? Or abstaining, I should say.
But I want me.
Okay. Okay, it's yes. Grace? Yes. Dennis?
Yes.
Kareem?
Yes.
Thank you. Teresa?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Christopher?
Yes.
15 motion passes. I'm sorry, John. I preemptively took you off. You can vote.
Yes.
You can go last for one more meeting.
Yes.
I know you love that spot.
Because I was like, no, I don't want this. But over the week working on this, I really can't.
Maybe you playing Hail to the Chief or something.
What?
Hail to the Chief.
Yeah, no, you don't. So next is vice president?
Yeah. Okay, so let me read the duties. So vice president, in the absence or disability of the president, the vice president shall perform all the duties of the president, and when so acting shall have all the powers of and be subject to all the restrictions upon the president. The vice president shall have such other powers and perform such other duties as from time to time may be prescribed for them respectively by the board.
And I nominate Laura Myers.
Yeah, I accept.
Second.
Who is the president and vice
Any
president?
other nominations? It's kind of like poop.
What?
Any other nominations?
Laura?
I just wanted to shake her up.
I was like, I know you're not going to nominate.
Other nominations, we'll close it. Can you get a roll
Yes.
call?
Jasmine?
Yes.
Dolores?
Yes.
Raheem?
Yep.
Candace?
Yeah.
Laura?
Should I be?
Yes.
Whatever you want. Joe? Edward?
Yes.
I am a yes. Paula?
Yes.
Grace?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Kareem?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think.
I'm just making a note of it because we have to we still haven't heard the full, okay, anyway. Michael?
Yes.
Christopher?
Yes.
John Arnold?
Yes.
Okay, so the next one is secretary. So the secretary shall attend to the following book of minutes. The secretary shall keep or cause to be kept at the principal executive office or such other places as the board may direct. A book of minutes of all meetings and actions of the board and committees of the UNC with the time and place of holding, whether regular or special, and if special, how authorized the notice given, the names of those present at such meetings, and the proceedings of such meetings. Correspondence, the secretary shall maintain copies of all outgoing and incoming correspondence to and from the council, the board and committees, and members of the board and the chairpersons of committees, to the extent such correspondence constitutes business of the board and the committees, and not personal matters of such individuals. Are there any nominations?
I nominate, Sarah Long.
I second.
Yeah.
Any other nominations? All right, hearing none. Oh, go ahead.
No, discussion.
Okay.
I would just like to say that, as a former secretary, Sarah and Henry have done an excellent job. I would consider, somebody who knows how hard that job is, I can't recommend her highly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Hearing no
Jasmine?
other nominations.
Yes.
Oh,
wow. Okay, Sarah.
No, I just want to move on. Somebody else wants to be nominated. please.
Jasmine, what did you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is all Raheem's fault. It's okay. Dolores?
Yes.
Raheem?
Yes.
Candace?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes, sorry.
It's okay. Show?
Yes.
I'm abstaining. Paula?
Yes.
Edward?
Yes.
Grace?
Yes.
Dennis?
Fell on the line, I cast one vote for Sarah.
Oh, thanks. Kareem?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Christopher?
Yes.
And John Arnold?
Yes.
Alright, so next up is treasurer. So for the duties, it's all funds supporting activities of the council shall be administered by the treasurer, who shall also serve as the council chief financial officer. He or she shall have such other powers and perform such other duties as may be prescribed by the board, the financial accountability guidelines, or bylaws. Do I hear any nominations?
I nominate Edward Saunders.
Edward, do you accept?
Do you accept?
No, I can't.
Okay, any other nominations?
Paul is resigning.
I'm not making a nomination, making a comment.
for the board. We do need to have a treasurer. I recognize that probably no one in the room has taken the financial officer training.
Yes.
We will be in a desperate position if someone doesn't agree to become the treasurer, take the training this month, and have us elect you officially on August 3rd. We're okay for about a month, but without a treasurer, we will not be able to put in any payment requests, so our webmaster won't get paid. And I need you to speak louder. So without a treasurer, we will not be able to put in any payment requests. We will not be able to adjust the budget. The funding requests that we approved tonight, anything by credit card would be allowed to be paid, but anything that requires a check payment could not be submitted. So we can't redo the admin packet. There's just certain things we cannot do. So we must have somebody agree to be treasurer and take the training.
And then I'd like to add to that, just as a former treasurer, I'm more than happy and willing and able to help whoever steps up to transition. So I'll be here at your side to help you as you're learning how to go onto the portal, input the data, work with the budget, because as the board now, you're gonna have to work on adjusting the budget that we brought into this next fiscal year. So I'm happy to help you, whoever you need.
So this is very crucial, anyone self-nominate or nominate someone, we will need a treasurer, we definitely will need one before then.
Well, I'm on this spot, so we probably will be one-on-one phoning people if we don't walk away with that.
Thank you, Paula. Laura, you're qualified to be, you've taken the financial training. I know we just nominated and voted you in as president.
My worst case scenario would be becoming treasurer in my life. Yeah. It's a pretty solid, no, because we talked about it. I am technically qualified. It's so it's just not, Excel spreadsheets, all of that. It's just not my sort of thing.
I think you're only allowed to look at executive.
No, she's saying dump to resign and become treasurer. Yeah, well, she didn't say okay. So we would, I know we need to move on, but we're going to be making phone calls. Yeah.
I think, review the bylaws. I know Alfonso read it right now, but there will be some limits on the board, as far as, the how you can move forward with any expenditures that you have planned, or any changes you might want to make to your budget package, so just kind of understand that. Work with the office of the city clerk. They're the ones that kind of look over the funding. I see they were raising your hand.
Let me ask a question, Leslie, because these were long things. What's the outside time for?
Honestly, I'd say about 10 hours a month. That's probably including board meetings somewhat.
Yeah, but attending the 2 board meetings and doing the work.
Right.
Except in June when it becomes hectic, because we're trying to pay all the.
At the end of the term, it's wrapping everything up.
Right.
How many issues that are chatting for, so if we can't do the remote part, then that would be.
So when will we find out about whether or not remote will be allowed, because that makes people say yes or no to exactly.
I have a question.
Oh, with remote meetings, teleconference meetings, remote meetings, that's still up in the air right now. We're still following SB 411 to see if a virtual meetings, it's still an option for neighborhood councils. At this moment, we are asking, I'm letting neighborhood councils know, continue to operate as if you were going to be in virtual, in-person meetings right now. We don't know.
So let me say this, a report will be loaded into our packet so that we can all see it. And it will be able to be viewed, and she could still make her report. Is there any reason why we could not nominate or elect her tonight? And, just go from there? Because otherwise we have no one.
You can appoint someone tonight, that person, anyone, right, that takes an office or position can decide a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, this isn't for me, it's too much, I can't build it into my life, it's not, that's always an option, so it's up to you to decide. Hey,
Stop talking, I'll take your line. Show it.
All right. That is Candace Jackson and Candace.
What is her goals?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Ready?
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna take the vote.
The trout.
Okay, Jasmine,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yes.
Brittany,
Yep.
Candace,
Sure, yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Edward, I am a yes, Paula,
Yes.
Grace,
Yes,
Dennis,
Yes.
Corinne,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes. Teresa, yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Diane, Christopher,
Yes.
and John.
Yes.
Thank you.
Position and that's signatory.
Yeah.
Currently, it is Grace Yu, but Grace says she's not gonna continue. And so we need a nomination for that position. Yes, Lord.
Well, I actually would ask the following. Grace, would you do it for 1 month? And would somebody else take the training and step up? And the reason I'm asking is we have to have 2 people
Oh, to sign.
tonight as signers. And only Grace and I are signers at the moment.
I will hold on for another month, but we'll
No, we
be
need-
happy to relinquish to ever on this board.
So we could elect to, and as of August 1st, replacement signatories, and Grace can tell them what the job is.
Sorry about that. Okay, so the secretary is one of the UNC's financial officer and shall be responsible for making UNC expenditures via CD provided purchase credit debit card or other authorized purchase methods. The signatory shall ensure that these funds are expended in accordance with the department and UNC policies, budgets, and approvals. The signatory shall maintain orderly receipts and invoices for all transactions and submit them to the city signing page. The signatory will be one of 2 card holders. The signatory is also the principal signer for the board action certificates and or other methods for documenting governing board actions and oversees their preparation with any other officer as may be prescribed by the board. Do I hear any nominations?
This is a term beginning, can we say at the start of your next meeting, the date of your next meeting?
Yes. Right, so signatory for August 3rd. I'm looking at Teresa, would you want that? No, look at her eyes. I won't ask.
Michael, are you self-nominated?
No, I'm not.
If I could ask, Grace, how much time do you spend each month?
It's not that much more. You actually end up attending the executive committee, which is where I would have the difficulty. It's not the actual other work, but it's attending another 2+ hour meeting.
Right, so the job, aside from having to obviously be present at board meetings, is attend the executive committee meeting, sign the BAC. So the way that works, Sarah takes all the notes, creates the BACs, and then the 2 signers have to sign them. The BAC is the board
Okay,
Anyway, oh, be safe, she's someone.
Yes.
Teresa.
I second that.
Yeah.
Quickly.
All right. Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none, roll call.
Right. Jasmine?
Yes.
Dolores?
Yes.
Raheem?
Yep.
Candace?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Sho?
Yes.
Edward?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Paula?
Yes.
Grace?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Christopher?
Yes.
And John Arnold.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passed.
Moving along, thank you. And so our new executive board, myself as president, Laura as vice president, Sarah as secretary, Candace as treasurer, and Teresa as signature. Amen. Going on to government, yes. Going on to government agency reports, we're starting off, is Danielle here?
No, Eric.
Eric, yes, sorry, Eric without the L.
Eric's our rep.
I'm gonna write a song this year.
No, you are all right then.
Yes, yes, yes. So real quick, I just want to say that I heard Ms. Sandra's sentiments in regards to the New Orleans corridor event. Unfortunately, there was a mishap in regards of communication to the neighbors that were involved. To be transparent, there was a street team that was hired that was in charge of notifying the residents in the community. Unfortunately, that part didn't happen. Nike did do their part in regards to notifying the residents through Film LA. So that did take place in regards to the notification event. After the New Orleans corridor event, I did have a conversation with a constituent that addressed the concerns and was loud and clear in regards to what needs to happen next time. I'm not gonna say who that person is, but I believe that person is on Zoom. And I heard you loud and well, so hi, if you see me. But I appreciate it, and the truth of the matter is, we will take full responsibility of that coming from the council office. So it is my sincere apologies on behalf of the councilwoman that the residents, the constituents, and people who truly care about the neighborhood was not notified of the event. And it wasn't in regards to disrespecting the community, because that's the last thing that we want to happen. We do want to be inclusive. We do want to include everybody. We do want to hear your thoughts and concerns and opinions to help improve the city of Los Angeles. With that being said, it is our hope you can forgive us and move forward and make LA truly a place where we can enjoy it forever. Now, round of applause? No. Thank you. But in all seriousness, there are some updates and some community events that are taking place around Council District 10 over the next 2 weeks. So starting off on 7/15 is the Black Lives Matter 10-year anniversary, which is taking place in Lamert Park from 10 a.m. to about 5 p.m. This is a free community event. They'll have an activation for a kid zone and spoken word in hopes of getting some entertainment to show and to perform. Second, at Rancho Cienega, there will be a pride event taking place on the same day, 7/15, the same time frame. That event is free as well. I do believe there's a softball tournament, so if UNCC wants to put together a softball team, please do so and represent the 10. That'll be If you do need an extra player, I will play first base. I'm not running no more. I'll stand there and catch the ball. Yes, sir. Right. I know someone else earlier mentioned movies in the park. Oh, Miss Sandra. So with that being said, that is getting ready to kick off, and there will be 4 showings in Council District 10 right now. 7/21 will be the kickoff at Benny Potter Park.
What park?
Benny Potter. Yep. The second for 728 is Rainier Park. For 818, it will be Queen Anne Park. And for 9/8, it will be Genesis Ave Park.
What was the third date? I'm sorry.
8/18.
Thank you.
Hopefully I got my dates right. I still got to count my feet in August.
You guys already have a movie selected, or is that community like involved in this?
No, we do have a movie selected for Benny Potter, and it will be Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. And it will be free food, of course, entertainment. It is our hope to get the fire ladder out where kids can engage with the fire department and LAPD and all the other resources that will come with it. But there you go. Look at that. You just turned me on or something. You see what I mean by the partnership? We'll launch this as well. It says summer lunch program for free lunches Monday through Friday, June 13th through August 4th. And I want to say at various parks, I'll follow up in regards to the park locations. Free lunches for kids and teens between the ages of 1 to 18 years old. There is no registration required. I believe it's similar to some of the other lunch programs that was given throughout the city of Los Angeles. As you know, sometimes during the summer, kids and families actually struggle trying to provide food for their families. And Parks and Recreation has been so generous in regards to trying to encourage the kids to come show up and eat. And some of the distribution centers will be at some of our local parks and some of our local schools. But I'll follow up and get that list to you all, where you know where the distribution centers are.
Thank you, Eric. The closest parks in our community are Queen Anne, Lori Miller, and Vineyard. We are not having free lunches at Benny Potter Park.
Got it. Thank you. And that is it. They continue to use 311. Report it to 311, take pictures, send me the reference ID number. In regards to the alleys, as I stated earlier, please send me a picture, let me know where the address is, and then we'll send somebody out. Just to know you may call me on Monday. I can't promise you services on that Friday, but we will most likely get it done. Yes, ma'am.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Lizzie Morisato. I am as of now, former member. I just finished my second term as a member of the governing board. I was also, as you know, Jefferson Park, Red Area, and chair for outreach and elections. So you have heard from some of our stakeholders in Jefferson Park about the Juneteenth event. There were several other board stakeholders who could not be here. So on behalf of them, I would like to reiterate that sentiment. And also, because we have been working also on different outreach events, I would like to suggest that this protocol extends to all the different neighborhoods. So for example, we have worked more recently with events in Arlington Heights, right? So outreach event, the elections, earthquake, and the neighbors there also expressed, whenever there's a street closure, the neighborhood is inconvenient. So if there's no proper canvassing of the flyering, announcing events, in exactly the same way that a movie, whenever there's a movie shoot, the neighborhood and the blocks adjacent are flying. So we would really like to do that. And please, we are the neighborhood council. Yeah. We need to, I heard about the event from some other, maybe it was from the Lords, right? So I made sure, because I am the admin for one of our Facebook community pages for Jefferson Park. I think it was maybe a week before, I shared it, and I also shared it on different other social media outlets. But it wasn't something that City 10 communicated with us, right? So I think it will be very useful, and especially to have a direct, line with our grandparents
Yeah.
for each name.
And
That would really, it would really improve things with everything.
I'm glad, you did bring that to attention, and I've had some conversations with people around the community in regards to what is the best way to notify constituents. Some people say email, some people say social media, some people say flyer. With that being said, we do try to cover the entire basin, but what happened is when you make flyers, sometimes people walk up to their door, take it off their mouth and throw it away, and then we get a phone call saying we wasn't notified, right? So it is a form or method that we do need to create in regards to that. So if you don't mind, if you could send me your contact information, I do believe I have it, but some of the other stakeholders involved as well, to where when we do have our next event, I'll just make sure I blast it out to as many constituents, contacts that I have.
So multiple forms of communication.
Yes,
would be
yes.
Thank you.
Laura.
Right, well, not to extend this meeting too much longer, but the other thing the council office did not is inform us about the motion back in March to rename Jefferson Boulevard the New Orleans and Los Angeles corridor. That went to city council, but it was never brought up in any of your reports at the neighborhood council. It is a welcome. The history of that corridor is something we're very interested in. But it would have been nice to engage that early.
Yeah.
Not, so it's not just the event, but we also are running out of time for this meeting.
I'm gonna be quick and I'm gonna address that. I did pull the original motion because I wanted myself to see when that original motion was. The original motion was ran during the transitional period between when we were changing this stack. So we apologize for that as well. I know there is a public notification system where motions are being ran. But, like I stated earlier, I'm gonna stand here and accept full responsibility of that New Orleans corridor bid. It's our hope in the future that we can communicate effectively to notify the constituents, stakeholders, and businesses as well.
Let's get him with these balls.
Summertime coming up, if you want to put me in the duct tape, I'm with that too. I'm okay.
Thank you, Eric.
Yes, ma'am.
Alfonso Manzo has already addressed us, and so do we have a representative from Sydney Council office? Robert does.
Let's see her. Yep. Naomi, she's not here.
What?
Naomi,
No, I
Ryan
do have a
is
question.
on my rooms.
Yeah, oh,
So I
yeah,
just want
just,
to address that.
yeah, please see him afterwards.
Yeah.
Daniel, LA County Supervisor, second office,
We're not here.
not here. Office of Isaac Bryan,
Also not here, let me see.
any other city officials? Okay, then we're moving on to, the Community Veterans Justice Project. Is Andre here?
He is also not here. I move to table.
Okay, good. Okay, then we have the case of the 3020 Crenshaw, Side Theater. Who's presenting that? Is that you, Laura?
Well, where did John just go? Oh, there you go. So sorry. So John is presenting, I did just walk around, not exactly subtly, and hand out the motion that is going to be coming after the presentation.
Okay, let John go.
So we do have a presentation from the applicant, but just to tee you up what this is. This application is a CUB, which is an alcohol.
John?
Sorry?
Because
I'm in front of it.
It's a, what's
It's a CUB is for an alcohol serving permit. So that's exclusively what this is. Any CUBs have to go to a public hearing. And that's why we're hearing it. And the applicant is looking for our support for this CUB. And so so what this is and they'll present it as a historic theater. It's been closed for a long time, has been used for a long time. It was a Japanese-American theater, and I think it was a government history, or maybe the.
Let's Church of God in Christ.
Performing
Arts. Yeah.
So CIM owns it now, CIM is owns everything. This is being conserved, it's not being torn down, so they're looking to reuse it, we'll let the applicant, present it. So they're looking for our support, for the CUB license. So.
Right. And let me just add one thing. Technically, we do have in the agenda packet all of, the application, the site plans, et cetera, but we're gonna have a presentation from the applicant.
Okay, Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Oh, should we read our
Well,
motion?
we're gonna let them introduce
Okay.
themselves, and Max may not realize it, but he's been given, hosting ability to share the screen.
where would you like us to stand? If you stand right there and just project your voice, that would be great.
As loud as you can.
All right, I will.
And can you do this in 10 minutes?
Yes.
Perfect, okay, so Max is pulling up the presentation now, so you can all see it on the screen. My name is Marky, I'm the agent for this project, representing the developer. We have Miguel here from CIM, as well as our historic consultant, Teresa Grimes, with us here. So we're going to give a brief presentation, and then if you have questions, we will open it up to that. So Max, if you could go to the next slide.
It's not letting me, hold on. Good, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. So this project, the primary address is 3020 Crenshaw. It includes the addresses 3016 through 3020. The property zoning is C2-1-SP. And the land use designation is neighborhood commercial. The site's approximately 15,000 square feet. And the existing building is around 8,800 square feet. And as we know, it's a theater with associated surface parking to the rear of the site, the side of the site. Max, can you go to the next slide? So, like I said, it's the Crenshaw Theater. It was opened in 1941 and operated until 1951 originally. It was operated as an African American theater from 1955 to 1959. In 1960, it was renamed to the Kokusai Theater and used for Japanese films until 1986. As we know, it was later purchased by the church. And then was closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic when it was purchased by CIM, who's the potential developer for this project. Max, can you go to the next slide? So these are the official categorization of our requests. Like John said, this includes a CUB pursuant to the LAMC for a full line of alcoholic beverages for on-site consumption. In conjunction with the existing space on site, so the existing building is to remain. And then there's also a CUX, which is a conditional use permit to permit the renovation of the existing theater into an event space. The distinction between the CUB and the CUX is that if it's any type of event hall, you have to have the CUX piece as well. So both of those are included in our entitlement requests. But essentially, like John said, the request is for an alcoholic beverage license on site. Max, you can go to the next slide. The proposed project, these are some of the project plans. I know they're a little bit harder to see, but essentially the building on site is just existing to remain. The project will include a restoration of the existing building for community gathering and event space. And there are 12 on-site parking spaces adjacent to the building, as well as more parking in adjacent CIM buildings, which can serve as overflow lots. Next, we can go to the next slide. This is the original Kokusai Theater. The marquee was changed to Kokusai when that was the theater's operation. We'll pause for a second so everyone can see. And then Max, if you can go to the next slide. This is the proposed project rendering, so as you can see, keeping the same distinctive historic features of the building, and operating as an event space like we've discussed. So Max, you can go to the last slide. So here's just a comparison of both buildings together. We had a really robust discussion at 2 of the plug meetings, which we really appreciated, and all of the feedback, so we're happy to open it up to discussion or questions. I'm not sure how you guys operate, but we're here to respond to anything you have.
Would it be okay if Teresa gives us 1 or 2 minutes on why this is important historically? 1 minute.
Sure. Well, the building was identified as eligible by Survey Lay, which is the citywide historic resource survey of Los Angeles, as an example of a neighborhood theater, and also for its association with the Japanese American community. In my research, I actually think that history was a little narrow, because I think it's also important for association with the African American community. It was the original home of the Ebony Showcase Theater, which was, you probably know, was run by Nick Stewart, who was a person in the entertainment industry. He was there for a few years until he moved to a permanent location on Washington Boulevard, which is no longer there. And then it was the Jazz Hall for a couple of years. So I think the history is actually a little bit more complex and layered, like a lot of properties in Los Angeles are, where there's lots of people who have associations with them that are equally important. The big building lays out really nicely for this use, and really all that's required is a new accessible entrance off the side elevation, which is just a blank wall. So I think it's a terrific project.
So thank you. So I'll read the motion. So I was going to use the exact word that Marky used. We had robust meetings, a robust conversation about this theory. We had people, we had concerns about improving the property. There was a concern about adding trees to the property. There was a representative of the Japanese American community who came and really made a case to preserve the projector, to preserve, to really enhance what was there. So we made this motion with all that input from the community.
And may I interject, there was a portability question that was posed by me, and the potential, because alcohol will be served, what effect that would have on the community too, so.
So we did make it, we tried to get all that input, recognizing that the whole overlay is not about changing the building, about building anything, it's about to serve alcohol. So we had to cross-reference all of those. I don't want to get into too much more than that, because I don't want to give my opinions on that. So UNC's Planning and Zoning Committee recommends this motion. UNC supports the adaptive reuse of the former theater into an event center / banquet hall, which requires conditional use permits for alcohol and dancing, that's CUB and CUX. Additionally, we are pleased with the historic preservation aspects as presented, including the restoration of the marquee and cookie size sign, retention of a rock garden, which is a small rock garden at the entry, a new plaque for interpretation, preserving the projector, which is still there, retaining the showcases, which are the glass panels in front, utilizing them for historic displays and other character features as discussed. Again, your thing in our motion, but please interject that as an amendment, because we haven't done it yet. The UNC Planning and Zoning Committee also strongly recommends that the UNC Governing Board requests enhancement of the tree canopy of the site. We had some suggestions about how that might be done, but it's problematic because the parking lot has an easement from the next door neighbor, so it can't be changed, that removed. That enhancement of the tree canopy on the site, and that the project includes interpretive elements of the Japanese history of the site, which we just mentioned, as well as the African American history of the site, as Teresa mentioned, as discussed. And any approval that this board gives is contingent that the project will be substantially compliant, this is our board-like language, to what you just saw. So, nobody.
You have a question?
We need to have a.
So that's our motion, anyone?
Right, and it needs to have a second from someone who's not John and I.
A second. Question before.
There's no question.
So
So the project is already approved, we're just voting on the alcohol license.
It is not approved.
Oh, it's not approved? Okay.
So this is your committee, planning and zoning, giving you a synopsis of what we're recommending that we discussed over 2 weeks.
But what we are voting on is only the conditional use.
Yes.
We're not voting on the restoration, the tree canopy. We are just, unfortunately, we are just voting on the CUX and the CU.
But we're also giving an opinion on a whole bunch of other things.
This would be this
So
becomes
this will be-
a letter if we pass it.
This will be on the record, it will go to the developer, we express our opinions. Anything goes wrong, we'll call the council office. We'll make a bigger statement. So we did as much as we could to tell us, give a signal to the developer what was important to us. And for what they've acknowledged, that they've heard us. And listen.
It's hard. So I would like to really thank the Planning and Zoning Committee. I'm sorry, I am a member again of Jefferson Park, but because of my new job requirements, I was not able to attend the meetings. But I know that also on behalf of the Japanese American community, Jama Tamura was there, and thank you for listening to this input. I believe that the projector might go, if it is returned or given away, it might go to the Japanese American National Museum in Little Tokyo. And just for our general knowledge, there was a time in around World War II when there was a thriving Japanese American community, especially in Jefferson Park. You can see there's still 2 signs, big huge signs now, Casual Realty, Grace Pastries, and this is a time when minority communities really coexisted and thrived together. And I know that many in the African American community went to Kokusai Theater. I can tell you of one of the greatest NBA stars who was there constantly going to watch samurai movies and Brazilian movies and whatnot. I know that doing my own little research, that area around from Crenshaw to Normandy, around Jefferson Park and extending into Normandy, was called Seina. And that's where many Japanese American families settled right around that time. I know that in my block on 31st Street, there were at some point 13 Japanese American families. And I also learned from a directory that there was a Japanese American family living in my house in the late, I think early 40s. So that's a lot of history embedded in there. So I would like to really thank that, and we hope that, these different artifacts and the plan will be all, preserved.
Thank you, Lizzie. We got people thinking, oh, you have a question?
I have many.
We have multiple questions.
I got many.
Okay.
Somebody want to go?
No, you go
I
ahead.
have a lot of concerns. This feels like it wants to be a nightclub. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Is it gonna be theater seating throughout, or is this gonna be a night?
It is not a nightclub. This is meant to be a banquet hall. So this is meant to be a place to host weddings, to host bar mitzvahs, to host quinceañeras, to.
Who's going to have custody of the facility? Who's going to make decisions on how the event space?
Our plan right now is for us to operate it. We have our own.
CIM is going to operate an event space in Crenshaw.
That's right. We have our own hospitality group.
Okay.
Right with the all safe hotel.
And we have guarantees that it's not gonna be rented out nightly to a different promoter for a rap show.
This is not going to be a space for, it's not going to turn into a.
Will that be written into the conditional use permit conditions? I don't know, I'm just asking.
Mark, is there a condition like that?
I don't think that you would have those as conditions, but I will say that the request specifically states event space banquet hall, so I do think that a nightclub would be a separate type of request.
Are there restaurant facilities on the premises?
Yes.
Are you required to serve food as a percentage of the overall revenue as compared to the alcohol sales?
There's no requirement, but we have a full commercial kitchen that we're going to renovate so that we'll have.
I see a bar.
A full food service.
And I see shoe.
Okay.
Okay,
Just saying.
all right, that's opinion. Next question.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't make it to the meeting where you all presented, but if someone could, potentially fill me in on what the response was about the affordability question, we could take that.
Yeah, can you clarify what you mean
What
by
about
affordability?
As far as like affordability for community rooms to be able to like actually rent out the space for community functions.
Okay, I just wanna make sure, yeah, I'm doing the same thing. Do you know?
Okay, and the response is?
We can't commit to like a certain percentage. We'll consider it on a case by case basis, depending on who the applicant is.
Well, so there's no pricing for the venue at this time because it hasn't been approved. So I think what Miguel is getting at is that it's something that could potentially be a discussion down the line, but we're not really at that stage. Given the nature.
Yeah.
One person at a time, please.
She's speaking. I'm over. Yeah, she's speaking.
Hold on, everybody, we have people on,
Okay, and we have Dolores?
What about the tree?
There was a request to put a tree in the parking lot.
Okay, you guys, we need to, because of the way the microphone is, you need to speak up and you guys need to not talk, and I need to not talk.
I asked what about the tree, because that is in the
I agree.
recommendation.
We can't add a tree inside the parking lot, it would require us to remove parking, but we can add a tree in front of the theater. We can add a street tree.
Questions on the online? Robin?
Hi, thank you. I just have a comment. Good evening. My name is Robin Gilliam, and I'm co-founder of the South LA Tree Coalition. We are a local nonprofit that focuses on policies and programs that help protect the urban forest here in South LA and increase tree canopy coverage across our neighborhoods. I'd just like to take an opportunity to thank CIM for attending tonight and encourage the company and its staff to truly work in earnest to meet the community where we are and leverage this opportunity to strengthen relationships with our community. We're operating in a moment in time when the social and political climate acknowledges the historic discriminatory practices in our communities of color like ours, and the persistent inequities that continue to exist today because of that history. The lack of trees and adequate green space in our communities is one such reality. We'd like to encourage you to take advantage of an opportunity like this to do more than the minimum, more than only what is required of you, and demonstrate your commitment to the priorities and aligned efforts in our community, such as growing tree canopy coverage, and choose to plant a tree in the parking area as a good faith effort to build trust and collaboration with us and set precedent for future positive developments. Even one private property tree helps us improve our neighborhoods. And the beauty of design really is that it provides opportunities for creative solutions for physical space, as in this instance. This is wholly possible. So we are encouraged and we are trusting that you will do the right thing, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Robin. Boy, we are way past our 10 minutes. Did you want to call for, what was?
So the motion was to recommend that we support the adaptive reuse and the conditional use permits, but we also have our panoply, panoply, is that right?
Panoply of
other things that Japanese American history recognition, that trees, affordability, so the neighborhood can actually use it and not have pricing that's from out of neighborhood. And I think all of our, I made a point in the last meeting during it, that all these things make up that better project. It'll make it more beautiful, it'll make it more poignant, it'll make it more just rich. It'll make it a richer project if all of our recommendations are taken. That said, so we are recommending approval and substantial compliance with.
And did we get a second?
Yeah. We did,
Yes, we did.
but John, from Dennis.
Dennis.
John,
Oh, that's right,
do
Dennis.
you wish to amend the this to say, after the phrase as well as the African American history of the site, semicolon, and consider affordability
For local,
for local.
for local use.
For local use.
That'd be good.
I would like to do that.
And then does Dennis accept that amendment?
Yes, Dennis, do you accept that and second?
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
Accept it.
Yes, I do.
Wait, Jasmine has a, perhaps a better.
Can we tweak that language to ensure affordability? Because I want it to be more than consider.
Consider.
We should be looking out for our neighborhood, and I think that with that, we need to put pressure on people coming into our neighborhood to be developing things for our neighborhood.
So the wording would be ensure affordability.
Well, after the word,
Right.
after the phrase as well as the African American history of the site, semicolon.
And
And
ensure affordability.
I don't know if we can
I don't know how you can bind to something like that, because we can't rescind we can't write a letter of disapproval afterwards.
Right.
So I think the strongest we can, but we had this robust conversation about strongly, that's where it strongly recommends to send a signal to the developer.
Rather
So-
than ensure.
So, I mean, we can say anything we want, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's binding in any way. So we came up with strongly recommend after, it was two hard meetings, just to say that this is what we're signaling to the developer, that if there's an opportunity to have affordability, please let us have it, because our neighborhood, we don't historically have enough money.
Okay, so John, basically you accepted the first suggested amendment, but not.
I think to keep it clear, I would want to keep, kind of to strongly recommend, affordability.
Is that acceptable, Jackson? Because we can't, you know, we're not the legal arm, we can't ensure.
Well, I know we can't, but.
We can strongly recommend that they
Yeah.
ensure, that they ensure affordability. We're still strongly recommending it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, so, John, we do need to ensure
in there or not?
At the moment, it's not.
Because I will say regarding the robust, excuse me, Paula, you know, we argued back and forth about trees. They have 13 spots. Give up one of those spots, you know, the building next door, you got 300 parking spaces. You can give up one of those things. And we voted, and it was 42, and they said no. So this was, I feel, a really strong motion. Even though I didn't get the tree, and I feel they legitimately could give us a tree. But I do agree that putting that, Diana's and combination of Jasmine's concern about making it affordable for residents is really important. But I don't know if we should ensure, I don't know how we would enforce it. And what we have to do though is stay on top of CIM because they're doing more buildings around here. And make sure that they work with us in the future.
This will not be our last comment on a CIM project.
Right.
Okay. All right, guys, we gotta keep moving. Are you ready to vote?
With what we've already we agreed on, that would be my motion.
So you have it written in front of you and we're adding after the 1, 2, 3, third, on the third paragraph after discuss, strongly recommend affordability for residents.
Consider.
For local use.
Consider
For local
affordability for local use.
Call for a question.
Okay,
As opposed to ensure, it was
yeah,
considered.
strongly recommend affordability for local.
Consideration is consideration. I just want to speak on the fact that, I live in this community, I live right by the theater, and been going there my whole life as a member of West Angeles Church of God in Christ. I was very shocked at the sale, and given the history of the CIM group with regard to the downtown Crenshaw efforts, and even just trying to purchase the mall and so on and so forth to preserve our own. It's not necessary for anyone to come in and tell us what we need, so any strong recommendations, I encourage to continue to push that limit, period, regardless of who's standing where, what presentation we just saw, remaining true to the core of your being, knowing that these gentrification efforts are continuous, and a recommendation will just be that, a consideration will just be that They don't wanna give us that anyway, so the very fact that we have a chance to vote on something that could be long-term, affecting our community financially and otherwise, with regard to the preservation of the people who live there, who built there, who went through Jim Crow there, who went through all of these different atrocities, including my own ancestors and now respected elders. I'm speaking on that behalf and no other, period, and point blank.
Thank you. Let's call for the question.
Jasmine?
Abstain.
Dolores?
Yes.
Raheem? Candace?
Yes. Oh. Ladies first, ladies first.
Okay, keep moving.
We clarify what we're voting on right now.
Candace?
Yeah, we're taking a vote. It's our, you had a last comment?
I understand that, ma'am. I'm asking to be clear on what exactly we're voting on right now.
Yes.
Read the letter with the amendment about affordable.
Strongly
Okay, and
recommend.
if someone says no, then what is that?
That means they don't support the letter.
Okay. I'll abstain. Anyone?
Abstain.
Laura?
Yes.
Sho?
Abstain.
Edward?
Abstain.
I am an abstain. Paula?
No.
Grace? Abstain. Dennis?
Yes.
Teresa?
Abstain.
Michael?
No.
Christopher?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Okay, motion does not pass.
So we have an opportunity now, if you want to change it, have stronger language, we can do that. So if you want.
So you want to use the word ensure now,
Let's use the
John?
Honestly, I think if we're working on principle now, if
Oh,
we
we
wanted
can't
to.
move on with that. If we want to try one more motion, the hearing is in a few weeks.
But if it doesn't pass, and the president says to move on,
Paula, you,
Paula can do it.
I don't,
So what are you suggesting, Laura?
well, no, John,
I'm just gonna suggest that if we want to add strongly, use the word ensure over
Just-
strongly recommends, if that would make a difference, I'm not sure.
I don't think.
No, I don't think it'll make any difference because we don't say sure, that's just the word, we don't have a way to.
It's not a way to ensure that they hear.
Okay, questions?
Can I just say this? You can vote any way you want, but if you vote this down and vote everything else down, that means that the company gets to go before planning without our opinion, without our recommendation.
Right.
And they can say and do whatever they want. This way, at least we are giving the planning department our opinion on what we want done in our community.
right, so that, I guess we should, because this is the first big vote for a new board. We will not be able to present any of this to the planning department if the motion fails.
When's the planning department submitted?
The hearing is this month.
So we will not meet again.
We will not meet again.
Then I suggest we meet at the planning department hearing. It's a public hearing.
Well, individuals may go, but UNC will.
But you won't be speaking on behalf of.
We will not be able.
The letter that's written to me is not exactly.
That's fine.
I wish I had been here last night. I would have finished on it.
Well, we didn't have it on last night's agenda. But again, I just want to explain, it doesn't mean we're changing if we do need to move on. So unless there's, maybe it's just so you know the consequence is that we can't speak.
Well, we can't sit here and rework this. That was one thing that Greg was our former president, for those of you who don't know, was really strong. Work is done in the committee, we come and we vote. So we've taken a vote, it did not pass. And I understand there may be consequences because they're gonna have a hearing at the end of this month. So where do we go from this point?
Well, John is suggesting a stronger motion and but that would have to come real fast because we really need to move on. It's 9:00.
And I think we're all in agreement that a stronger wording, like saying ensure, as an example, is not gonna make a difference.
Well, I have no idea when people abstain, if it would or wouldn't make a difference.
All right, for those of you that have abstained, because we gotta keep going. Yes.
Okay.
So this statement, it's in support of them, or this is just kind of like when we are rendering our opinions, so we think about buildings. So
This is in support of the conditional use and adding our opinion.
So what happened at planning and zoning, they came, they presented, we had a discussion. There are people, Diana advocated for affordability, I advocated for trees. We had further discussion. John and Laura came up with a motion. They participated, took a stance. John and Laura came up with the motion. We discussed the motion, it was refined, and then we took a vote with the planning and zoning participants. It was 4-2. That motion was then now brought to the governing board, having been approved by the planning and zoning committee, and recommending that we approve their request
as long as they.
and with those suggestions. They are not enforceable, but we are suggesting strongly that they include trees, that they honor the Japanese heritage. So it's like Laura said, if we don't have something, we're not gonna get to speak. And normally at a planning commission, we get 5 minutes. If not, we won't be able to speak, and we'll only be able to talk as individuals, and whatever they say goes. The zoning administrator will not have any input from the community.
So I guess the one thing I wanna say is, and I could be wrong, so please correct me if I am. But as far as I understand that these are recommendations that we can't enforce these things, but I think if we're very direct about what we want in exchange for our support of the project, that no, we can't rescind our letter, but I think it gets the point across to the planning department, to Plum, to the planning commission, that under these conditions and these conditions only is when we will support the project. I don't, obviously putting insure does not mandate them to make the facility affordable, but it's at least saying that unless they make this facility affordable, unless they include this tree, we're not supportive of the project. And that, I think, is the point in having that stronger language.
John was gonna say something? No?
Because we're dancing around this. If we change the words to ensure, will that change the vote? Which we won't know. We won't know unless we change the words and try another vote.
All right, can we do that so we can move on?
Okay, I will make a new motion, same as the old motion, but replace the word strongly recommends with ensure.
Strongly.
Yeah, ensure affordability for local use.
Ensure.
The ensure comes later, it's not at the strongly recommends, it's the.
Right.
We're strongly recommending that the governing board take an action, but the ensure affordability.
Yeah, we took out strongly recommend. So it's now gonna read as well as African American history on site as discussed and ensure affordability for local use.
Yes.
Okay, now let's call for a vote.
Oh, is that, is there a second?
Oh, yes, is there a second? Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I changed it.
That's right, the new motion.
All right, Jasmine?
Yes.
Dolores?
Yes.
Raheem?
Nope.
Candace?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Show?
Yes.
Edward?
Yes.
I am a yes. Okay. Paula?
Yes.
Grace? Abstain. Okay. Dennis?
Yes.
Teresa?
Abstain. I didn't, just to be honest, I didn't hear the new remodel.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good. I'm gonna abstain.
Christopher?
Yes.
John? Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Thank you, everyone, thank you. Of course, this will be my first time at church, and I'm not gonna have, I've never had a Number 8.
You call my name.
Oh,
Michael?
you didn't call.
Sorry, Michael, what was your vote? No? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I have a bunch of blank spaces on my
Sorry.
Thank you for letting me.
Okay, our next, hello, attention, it's getting late, 9 o'clock. Laura, what were we going to be discussing on the, okay, that's it.
Well, we have all of.
Okay, so if you have the agenda, we still have vacancies, for Region 1, resident representative C2, Region 4, that was resident representative, C2, Region 6, resident representative C2, and Region 6, resident representative C1.
Here, I'm
So we
gonna,
have those, and then we want to, appoint a member, Laura?
I'm sorry, Teresa's speaking to me, I'm trying to post the agenda so everybody can see it again, but I've got to skip it out.
Okay.
Hang on, just stop it. But, well,
We had Diana Piper.
yes,
That there was an issue with the training, but that has now been resolved. But because her appointment was suspended by Department of Empowerment, we need to reappoint her this evening. And so, Diana.
Right, there was the code of conduct certificate that I needed to go into the systems, do the little video and sign it, and I missed the deadline. And then just the morning for the deadline, so I finally got it done on July 1st. And so they said that the council has to actually reappoint me to that seat. So I am here asking for reappointment.
Okay, and your seat was Region 5 resident representative seat 1. And we do show her code of conduct 7-1, now the expiration is 2025. But you do, well, we'll talk
So
about that.
take the rest
Still
of
have
it.
other
Yes,
things to take.
but that was
She
the
has
one that-
completed that.
Yeah.
And so I would like to nominate Diana for Region 5 resident rep seat 1. From that position. We have a second, let's call for the vote. Any discussion? Okay, let's call for the vote.
Jasmine?
Yes.
Dolores?
Yes.
Raheem?
Yep.
Candace? Yes. Laura? Yes. Show?
You know you're being recorded, right?
Joe, can you vote?
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you,
Oh,
okay?
yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, next.
I'm shocked.
It doesn't, Edward?
I think this is the new board.
Yes. Paula?
Yes.
Grace?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Teresa?
abstain.
Michael?
Come on, time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Diana?
Gets the ball.
Can I vote for this one?
You can.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Christopher?
no, she cannot.
Oh, she's
Yes, you know.
Christopher?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. All right.
Yes, yay, welcome back.
Thank you.
Treasure.
Welcome back. You don't have any other appointments?
No.
Well, unless you.
Are you joining the board call?
Yes. Yes, we have our.
Megan and Felicia, could you pull up the, go into the share drive and pull up, what's the first item on the agenda?
Budget.
Budget review, so.
Oh, where did everything go? Is that?
I think this is, it's on.
No, I know, it's in here somewhere.
Let me go ahead and pull up, the
Working budget?
working budget. Unfortunately, my password changed and, I was gonna pull up the funding portal, but can't get in. All right, so just in general, so this part of the report is just to talk about the admin. Oh, sorry, apologies, thank you, Lizzie. So this part of the meeting is just to to briefly go over the admin package and the budget for this fiscal year. Because I don't have the funding portal up, I'll just tell you high level. We have $32,000 in our budget for the year. It's divided into, let's see, this is a touchscreen, awesome. It's divided into, we've got $500 for community improvement projects. We allocated $6,000 for neighborhood purpose grants. And then up in for operations and general expenses and outreach, we've got, I think that's, what is that, $25,500 in that category total, the $19,900 and the $5,600. So that's what we have as of today. We have one expense for the $32,000 budget. It's $187 for public storage, which was made a couple of days ago, I believe. So you've got essentially a full budget for the year, which the new treasurer will be working with you. And
He's going to work with you, I promise.
To figure, I'll help you out, of course, in the very beginning, to determine if you want to make any adjustments to these allocations that you see here. And that's, maybe you want to form like a little subcommittee or something to discuss that before you present it to the board, or we can talk about that one-on-one.
So what do you need from us? Or you just want to?
This is an overview.
This is just an overview high level, and so the next step really is for the new board to decide if you want to keep the allocations where they are, or if you want to readjust.
Okay.
So that's it on that point, unless there's a question.
Yeah,
I know you have other things you need to work on, and then really high level, for rollover dollars. I think we were originally thinking we'd have closer to, I think it was 7,000 or 8,000. We actually could have closer to 6,000 because there was an item.
We are having a dispute, so we can maybe update you in a month.
Yeah, which we're probably gonna lose, but, so essentially $1,500 that we thought was an accrued expense, not counted, was city's actually counting it against us. And taking it away out of what we thought was gonna be rollover funds. So that can all be, you can all talk about that.
Oh, boy.
So that's why we have actually for rollover, it's probably gonna be closer to 6,000 instead of the 7,500 we thought we were gonna have.
Keep moving.
So next is MER, the monthly expenditure report, and there it is. And so I'm happy to report that we were finally able to get all of the expenses approved by the city. So this should accurately.
Yeah, this is just May, we don't have a June.
This one is not touchscreen. So I'm going to basically scroll through for all the board members what the expenses were. And then at the very end of this, you're going to see receipts. And she does our website design and upkeep. We had a NPG for Dynasty Youth, United Youth Association, Housing Works. Lizzie had a reimbursement. Garden School Foundation had a neighborhood purpose grant. We had like a reimbursement for Laura and Greg, and Paula and Grace. Wow, I had a lot. And then all of our receipts.
And this is for May?
And this is for May, so there will be another one, I believe that's gonna go, be available for, we'll talk about that, Candace, how to download and all of that.
All right.
But yeah, I looked today and it wasn't ready yet.
All right, so our total expense for May?
I'll have to go back up to the top. These are just all the related BACs, approving the expenses and the receipts.
Nice that they can be.
Going really fast because I'm trying to save you all time.
Thank you, Paul.
Boy, it was way up there.
There were a lot of expenses in May.
Is that it? No?
Let's see, this is not a touchscreen. So this again was at the end of May, we had just over 13,000 available after all of these expenditures. It's sort of water under the bridge at this point. So I'm gonna make the.
He's not?
It wasn't.
He's not.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, so I make a motion that we, accept the, May report, monthly, approve the May monthly report, NER.
Second.
All right, so second, also vote?
Right, Jasmine?
Yes.
Oh, you have to be very careful about who's taking secondary training. So the new board members, with the exception of Candace and Michael, have not done secondary training.
So they can't vote on this
They
issue?
cannot vote on this.
If you have not done funding training, you cannot vote for this.
No, Candace can vote on this.
Yes.
He said you cannot. She
Yeah,
just.
Candace is good.
Candace is good.
Dolores?
Nothing.
Oh, sorry. Raheem?
Yep.
Candace?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
So Show, are you?
She has not.
Okay. No. Edward? No. I'm a yes. Paula?
Yes.
Grace is yes. Grace? Dennis?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Michael?
Michael?
Diana, are you, I said it's okay. Diana, are you also in? Okay. Yes. And then, Christopher?
I think I'm not yet eligible.
Okay. And John Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion.
Great, so I don't know if there needs to be discussion of reimbursements for tonight, or whether we put this off.
I use the correct.
Okay,
Yes.
then my
We're
job
gonna
here
go
is
on
done.
to
Good luck,
funding
everyone.
request. You know, and let me just say, although it's late, for Greg, for Paul, for Lizzie, all of our longstanding board members that, have stepped aside now, I would really like to have a special celebration honoring them, and we can talk about that later, okay?
Fine idea.
And so, funding request, Amazing Grace Conservatory.
She's
Do we-
here.
Jackie, okay,
She's here.
Jackie, you're online, we're ready to hear you.
Okay, hello, everyone, and congratulations to the new board members. A lot of exciting work going on. For those of you that I have not met, I just wanted to reintroduce Amazing Grace Conservatory. We are a performing arts institute in Los Angeles. Oh, I see the hey, yes, thank you. Directly across the street from Gramercy Place Apartments, we are a cultural institution. Amazing Grace Conservatory has been recognized as a nonprofit of the year. We were labeled by the Los Angeles Arts Recovery Plan as a national regional treasure, arts treasure. What we are proposing with our project, and I'd like to add, most recently, we had a performance at Crenshaw High School, 3 sold-out performances of The Wiz, a total of 2,400 community members attended that event. And since that time, we have really focused a lot of our efforts on the local schools in our area. So you'll see Amazing Grace Conservatory in a lot of different areas. What I'm here to talk to you about today is our upcoming, we're calling it AGC Gives Back, because we believe so much in our community. And I'm so glad I got to hear the responses earlier. Part of AGC Gives Back is what we envision as sort of an extended open house community event. We have several partners. Those partners include everyone from the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, Black Hollywood Education and Resource Center, Providence Healthcare, along with many others. And our proposal is that we do a small festival, and this would be for the community. Anyone that knows about our experience in 2022 knows that we did a festival, a Sugar Hill Arts Festival in 2022, and really kind of celebrated the history of our area. So what we're proposing to do now is to focus in a lot more on everyone knowing all of the opportunities and offerings we have through the conservatory. I don't know if there are questions, but this event would include music, live performances. We also talked with our council office, Council District 10, and we've garnered their support. We intend to have the library involved, the fire department. So there are lots of entities, and we will be working all of this work from probably in the next 2 weeks until the date of our festival, which is September 9th, is the date of the festival. It will be from 12 until 5. And as I said, it's really a celebration of our community. We will include a backpack giveaway, and it's AGC's way, and when I say AGC, Amazing Grace Conservatory's way of giving back and recognizing the beautiful diversity of our community and the history that we have. I'd like to add, I'm sorry.
And then we need to take the vote.
Okay, I'd like to add, most recently, we also had a historic walk of Sugar Hill. And Laura Myers actually was our historian on the walk, and a lot of community members got involved with the USC architecture and advocacy students that are also working with us. So it is a chance for us to show everyone the recent renovations of our facility on the inside. We had a secret celebrity renovation. That show will be on in probably the next couple of months. Niecy Nash gifted us the uplift of our facility, and we want the community to come in and see what we do. So thank you for your time. I'm sorry to go on, but I had to try and get everything in.
You're excited about your project. Thank you, Jackie. And so they requested $500, $5,000. The executive committee approved $1,000. And so that is the motion before, that is my motion, that we approve $1,000 for this event.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been seconded.
Any discussion?
Yes, Michael.
Yes.
You go first?
Yes.
Dolores?
Yes.
Raheem?
Yep.
Candace?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Show?
Yes.
Edward?
No, she hasn't taken.
I'm sorry, I forgot it's funding one.
Funding.
Edward, oh, sorry, okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay, I had to remember too, I know.
Yeah.
It's hard, it's okay. I'm a yes. Paula?
Yes.
Grace?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Michael?
You just called me.
No.
No, you seconded, she didn't.
She hasn't mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Okay.
say yes.
Christopher, oh, you're, sorry. John? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Sorry, guys.
Jackie's gone. Okay, the next item is the West Adams Jazz and Musical Festival.
Thank you.
Teresa Masonette, or Masonette.
Thank you, Paula. So every year, the West Adams Avenues has a jazz festival, Labor Day weekend. Prior to the pandemic, the neighborhood council donated $3,200, but I understand that's because we had a larger budget. We came to, Donna Jones was on earlier, she's the chairperson of the West Adams Avenues Association, she left. We came to executive committee, asked for $3,200, they said no, we'll recommend $1,500, which would be $500 an evening. I took the administrative packet training to understand the process for this, and during that class I asked the clerk, what is the best way for the neighborhood council to have a table at an event? She said the event just needs to supply an invoice. So the invoice is here, and Laura, can you show the flyer?
I can, one second.
And then the flyer, we already have the flyer, we've already started marketing. I mentioned to Grace that it was 10,000, it really is 8,000 people over the entire 3 days, so I just wanted to correct that. So we'd like to ask the board to approve the $1,500 so the UNC can have a table at the festival.
All right. Yes,
I'm waiting for the motion, I'm sorry.
yes, can she make the motion?
Well, executive committee made the motion, and I wasn't on the executive committee at the time, so I think, oh, you need to make it. The motion.
To make the motion that we support the West Adams Jazz and Musical Festival over the Labor Day weekend, with a sponsorship of $1,500.
And I'll second.
So now I have it.
Yes.
The best event in all of West Adams. No, serious now. 3 nights of music and food vendors. It's really a food festival as well as a music festival. It is so much fun. The kids are everywhere. And the most important thing for us to do is not just vote yes on this money, but please mark your calendars because we need everybody to sit at the booth. So I support. It's Labor Day weekend, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night.
Thank you, Laura.
We vote?
Yes.
Jasmine?
Yes.
Dolores?
Yes.
Raheem?
Yep.
Candace?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
I know, thank you. I'm a yes. Paula?
Yes.
Grace?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Michael? And John? Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, now there's an administrative adjustment. And who's going to speak to that? Is that going to be Dolores?
That's Raheem.
For the amount to print and distribute postcards to Region 6.
That's a Raheem.
Oh, sorry, no, no.
I'm pulling,
What are you pointing at?
I don't know what.
Okay.
This is just, so Dolores requested that we do an additional,
I can't.
mailing of our UNC postcard in Region 6 because there are some blocks that got missed on our last mailing, so I submitted a request before, made a mistake in assuming that the print cost would be the same as what it was for our large bulk mailing. The print cost is actually more expensive, so we need some more money. And this additional funding request also would cover if there's any additional, if there's any postage increase from the post office. So that's what this is for.
Does it cost more because it's a smaller mailing?
The print cost does, like when you print in bulk, the more you print, the less it costs per item. So I used like the bulk per piece item to calculate for your print run, but that was too small.
And your request is for $500?
Up to.
Yeah.
Up to, yes,
And
it
that's
says up
only
to.
because postal rates change
Yes.
next week,
So
so
it may
we
not
don't
be that
know
much.
that this invoice is exactly correct.
So Raheem, are you making that motion?
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Dennis, seconded, let's take the vote.
And that was for up to $500?
Yes, up to.
Thank you. Jasmine?
Yes.
Dolores?
Yes.
Raheem?
Yeah.
Candace?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
I am a yes. Paula?
Yes.
Grace?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
And John?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Ooh, thank you, all right. Committee reports, planning and zoning, do you have anything to report?
No, I can't think of it.
Public safety, emergency preparedness, hand crank radios approved, update on classes and distribution of radios. Do you have something to report?
We're proceeding forward on that. I'll have to start working with the outreach committee.
Okay.
Because we're gonna get the word out.
Yes.
To invite people.
Okay, outreach committee, upcoming UNC outreach events, July to September. I don't know if we have it.
I don't know, do we have any?
I mean, we talked about
Well, we
different
have,
things.
well, we're gonna be sitting at, jazz
At
and
the
the
Jazz
Stars,
and Musical
and
Festival.
I'm going to assume that maybe Council District 10 will invite us to have a booth for the movies.
Oh, yeah, the night movies, okay.
And that maybe Amazing Grace will invite us to have a booth on September 9th.
All right. Stop. Communication Committee, do you have any,
Just a couple quick things. If anybody doesn't have their first name dot last name at unnc.org email account set up yet, please email me. Greg asked me to create a few over the last couple months that I haven't gotten to yet. But basically everybody on the board, you can choose to either have your first name dot last name at unnc.org email account forward to your personal email, or you can actually have access to your unnc.org email account. But if you don't have either one, please email me to remind me to set yours up, and it will. Raheem.Dawson@unnc.org is me. Also, in my garage, years ago, we printed some, well, not years ago, a year ago, we printed some lawn signs, UNC lawn signs that are neighborhood specific. We have a few left over, so if anybody, we have one for West Adams Avenues, we have one for Angeles Vista, we have one for Harvard Heights. That's it. If you live in one of those neighborhoods and want to put that on your front lawn, let me know and I can get you that lawn sign. Again, Raheem.Dawson@unc.org.
How do you Raheem, is it with a J or H?
H, 2 E's and M. And lastly, also, we approved a while ago some pretty high-tech business cards where you can just tap your card to somebody's phone and it'll transmit that information. We got them in and I never distributed them. Yeah. I know, don't shake your head, Dolores, it's okay. So I want to get back on that. If anybody, well, I guess anybody who previously opted into having this touch business card, again, email me, raheem.dawson@unc.org. I can get that to you. If there's any new board members who want to opt into having a digital business card, I can set you up with one. Or if you would like an old school physical business card,
Like me.
like some of our,
Go ahead and say it.
like some of our distinguished board members, I can also set you up with that. So those three things. Those three things. I'm happy to help anybody out. That's it.
Thank you, Ronnie. It's so good to see you. Yeah. And Teresa's going to speak on Jefferson Park.
No, I just want to make sure everybody, I know you took care of it with the folks downtown, but to make sure that everybody got notified from Cornerstone with your new password? No?
We're not worried about the old people, the new people.
Well, some of the old people.
Yes, but the new people, Candace, you did, Christopher, you should have received an email from Don. So,
Yeah.
and you did too, and so, you should have received one too, you were on the list.
Okay, I'll check.
Okay. It identifies all the training that you have to take, so you can pull it just.
You got it.
Right, and I also want to go behind, what Raheem said about getting your working out with him your UNC email, because Don on their website will have your UNC email, but it needs to be going somewhere, right? It can't just be there, because if it's not forwarding to you, people might be emailing you and there's no there.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so, the neighborhood council, we have some inactive, committees. One of them is the Jefferson Park, Safety Committee. I don't live in Jefferson Park, but a resident reached out to me about that, and there's now a permanent SLO, Senior Lead Officer for Jefferson Park, who is interested in having monthly meetings.
Oh.
So, I'm asking that we reactivate that committee. It would be in person only at the Jefferson Park Library. The people interested in being the chair would come to executive, and then the executive would approve it and then send it back to the governing board if there's someone interested in sharing that. So the request is to reactivate the Jefferson Park Safety Committee.
All right, and then now we have executive.
No, wait, that's, she's moving that we vote to reactivate the.
So then I have a second, I move, can someone second?
Second.
Question,
Yeah.
how many people are excited about joining in on to this Jefferson Park Safety Committee?
I believe there are several people. I only spoke to one person who's interested, who speaks to some other community members. It's really also the senior lead officer he's doing weekly meetings, Crenshaw Manor, Rayburn Block Club, and he said, what about Jefferson Park, because that's my permanent area. So I said, I don't know, I think Dolores and I were doing some other community work in Jefferson Park, and someone said, hey, yeah, what about that? Because that might be something we're interested in. Whoever chairs it, they still certainly have to follow the agenda, they have to follow our rules. So, you saying that you'd rather have it just fall under your committee?
Lizzie has a question?
No, I'm just sort of curious. Go ahead.
Yes, so I understand the need for an in-person meeting, like we used to have in the past. Sandra Pruitt called police officers and they came, then with Jake Williams, and then that got suspended until now. However, there is a virtual meeting every month hosted by Mika Matsui from, she's from the West Adams Neighborhood Association, one. And we happen to share the same SLO. So Officer Whiteman is there, and then because we were attending those meetings, then Mika just included us. So Officer Whiteman would have to come to in-person meetings, so there's some considerations, but
He's the one who requested it, was him from Jefferson.
okay, so, yes,
So-
that's why I'm
And
saying.
if necessary, I can have him attend the executive committee to
Yeah.
make that
But
request.
right now, there's that in place, so it's a virtual
Okay.
meeting and we all.
And if I bring
So-
at least five people showing up to these meetings.
Well, but if the police officer wants to do it.
Yeah. we
Yeah,
don't-
if you do it, so.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor
Who seconded that?
to reactivate,
Dolores.
But wait,
and who seconded?
Dolores.
Okay.
Now,
but if a committee has been a committee, was it ever deactivated?
Go ahead, Laura.
Well, Jamie was the chair. So, I mean, it was a committee for many years,
Right.
actually. But the most recent chair, co-chairs were Nancy Cruz and Jane.
Yep.
And Nancy got too busy.
Yeah.
And then Jane moved.
Yeah.
And no one wanted to take it
Right.
over.
But all I'm saying is
Yeah.
if a committee hasn't been deactivated, then do we need to have a motion to reactivate it if there's not?
Yeah, it was
Will
just put.
If there's not somebody to chair
It
it.
was footnoted. It was taken off the calendar, but I don't know
Right.
that we voted to take it
No,
off
Right.
the
we did
calendar.
not.
Yeah, so,
So maybe
unless,
we'll
I mean, great, but if there's no chair right now, then.
because there's also a tree committee, and last year I asked Laura, I said, oh, I'd like to reactivate the tree committee, no, we can't do it. So I'm going through the procedure now, yes, you did, I'm going through the procedure now to reactivate, to make sure that it happens, but if you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I think we need to have this conversation when there's somebody who's willing to be the chair.
Okay, there is.
Okay, are they here?
You have,
Well, there's a procedure, she's gotta be approved through
Yeah, yeah.
executive first.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so this is going to be a vague to executive. President's report, Greg had a handbook. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's in our packet.
Sarah Laura knows about the
Pardon, what?
Greg's handbook, president's report.
What about it?
Do you, I don't have any information on it. Do
Yeah,
you?
it was an edit, last time I heard, I don't know.
Okay. You know what, we're gonna obey this. We're going on to the secretary's report.
Okay. The minute should be in the.
Oh,
This
yes,
is
sorry, yes.
9:38.
Yeah. Sorry.
While she's doing that, I'm just gonna share her passage.
This,
We'll talk about that.
I'm sorry, for everybody, I just heard a question while I'm looking for this. Can we get these things in advance? That's why on the agenda every year, every month, there is a link to these materials. It's in the packet. What I'm not seeing, I know I have it, but I'm not seeing the minutes.
Draft, it's right there, draft UNNC 0601.
Got it. Oh, well, that's why, because I'm looking for the word
Yeah,
She's looking
minutes.
for
Okay.
secretary or something.
No, I'm looking for the word minutes.
Okay, let's scroll through.
Okay, so we had the usual roll call, everything was pretty normal. Public comments. Government agency reports and comments. executive committee business. Various reports, funding requests. Committee reports. Old business, and we adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
A second.
My own quotations.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. Okay, Vice President's report, which was me. Attendance is good. Training, is actually good. We do, yeah, I think we're current now, and if there's a problem, I'll follow up with you. Meeting is adjourned. Yes.
I'm not gonna be as eloquent as
Don't make us cry before we go.
Say thank you so much. It's been great 8 years. I was appointed in June of 2015, and it's been such a roller coaster. We work, collaborate.